Namaste and welcome back to the DSA classes. Today, my dear friends, we are going to be discussing another very important question in arrays called as finding the frequency of elements in a sorted array. Now, what do you mean by finding the frequency of elements in a sorted array? Let me explain. Okay. Now, assume I have an array like this. One thing that you can clearly notice is that the array is sorted, right? And if you notice, there are elements repeatedly occurring, right? Now, if you ask me, what do you mean by frequency, sir? Frequency is the number of times a particular element occurs in an array. The number of times it occurs in an array is only called as frequency. For example, what is the frequency of 20? How many times is 20 occurring? 2 times. So, in the output, you should tell 20 space 2. So, 20 appears 2 times. 30 appears a total of 4 times. So, 30 space 4, like this it should come. This should be our final output. In other words, element followed by its frequency or the number of time it's occurring inside the array. Element followed by its frequency. Like that, you have to tell what is the frequency of all the elements. Now, how does one approach this? What could be the approach to solve such a problem? If you ask me, it's very simple. I want you to focus and try to understand. Okay. See, this is how I would set out to solve this problem. Now, before you listen to me, I would encourage each of you to pause this video and try to come up with a solution on your own. It need not be optimized or anything. Just try to come up with a solution. Think about it. Assuming you gave it some thought, now you focus and listen to how I would approach it. Okay. Now, watch it, guys. Now, the first element, whichever is the first element, at least once it has occurred, that is why it is the first element, at least once it has occurred, right? So, what I will do is, I will create a variable called as frequency, and initially I will make it as 1, telling that the first element has occurred once. Yes, it has occurred once. Now, it may have occurred multiple other times towards the right side of the array, but at least once it has occurred. So, I will make it as 1. Now, my duty is to actually find out whether this element has occurred once or whether it has occurred more number of times towards the right side of the array. So, for that I have to write code. So, what I will do is, I will now appoint I to help me find whether this 20 has occurred multiple other times towards the right. So, where should I begin from? I should begin from the right side, okay, or one element ahead. Now, if the first element is at 0th index, obviously I should begin from 1. So, see, I am creating I and initially the value of I is always going to be 1. Any confusion till here? Okay, sir. Now, how are you going to find the frequency, you may ask? Very simple. First, forget about writing code and all. See how I will approach it. I will check if the ith element is equal to the I minus 1 element. If the ith element is equal to the previous element, then the element has occurred again. I hope you are able to think. Tell me, is A of I equal to A of I minus 1? Yes. Yes means, don't you think I should update my frequency, friends? And that is what I will do. I will go and I will update the frequency, in which case frequency from 1 is going to become 2. Any confusion till here? It has updated, it has become 2. Great. I should not stop here because 20 may occur multiple other times also. What I will now do is, I will move I forward. I hope you are able to think. The moment I move I forward, again I will check, is the ith element equal to the previous element? Is A of I equal to A of I minus 1? A of I is 30. A of I minus 1 is 20, which means it is not equal. If it is not equal, now you must understand few things. First thing is, if you find an element that is not equal, it means that whichever was the previous element, the number of times it has occurred, you have already calculated. Why? Because this is a sorted array. Because it is sorted, if the element changed, tell me, is there any chance of that element occurring after that? No. If 30 came, that means 20 can never come again because it is sorted. I hope you are able to understand. Hence, first thing is, the moment A of I is not equal to A of I minus 1, you have found the frequency of the previous element. That is what it means. I hope you are able to think. And what is the frequency? 2. So, immediately what I will do is, I is here. A of I minus 1 will give me the element whose frequency I have calculated. So A of I minus 1 I will print, and whatever is there in frequency I will leave a space and print it. Which means what did I get? 20 and 2, and that is the frequency of 20. I hope you are able to think. Now you found the frequency of 20. Now element changed, which means the process of finding frequency should be reset. I hope you are able to think. So the moment you found a new element, what should you do? Print the previous element's frequency, then come and reset the frequency to 1, because this element has occurred once. So reset it to 1. I hope you are able to think. Yes sir, we have resetted it to 1. Then what to do, sir? What to do means move I forward. You should move I forward. I hope you are able to think. If I move I forward, again I will check. Is A of I equal to the previous element? Yes, it is equal to the previous element. If it is equal to the previous element, update frequency. Frequency becomes 2. Move I forward. Check if I is equal to A of I minus 1. Yes. Yes means increase the frequency. Frequency becomes 3. Move I forward. Check again, is I equal to the previous element? Yes. Yes means increase the frequency. Frequency becomes 4. Move I forward. I goes outside. If I goes outside, then what I have to understand is that whichever element whose frequency I was trying to find out, I have found out the frequency, because there is no more elements. And if you look, what is the frequency? 4. Now I want to print 30 space 4. This should be the output. How will I print 30 space 4? Very simple. I went outside, but A of I will always give me the previous element. Previous element is only 30. Print that. Space, whatever is there in this variable frequency, print it as it is. And that is 4. Any confusion till this point of time? Okay, great. Now what you will do is, you will now reset the value of frequency. Because I went outside, reset the value of frequency, it becomes 1. But tell me, are there any more elements? No means you have to stop. I hope you are able to think. Now, I think in a general idea of how to approach this problem, you have understood, right? So what I will do is, I will reset all the values. Frequency is 1. I also will make it as 1, because initially I was here. Now, how are we going to write code for this? Watch it. First, frequency is initialized to 1. I is initialized to 1. Now, what you have to do is, you have to now run a loop where I keeps going one step forward and keeps checking whether ith element was equal to the previous element, increment frequency, move I forward. This is what was happening. How will you write that as code, sir? Simple. Watch it. What you are doing is, you are checking a condition. So, I am just putting brackets and you are writing a condition. What is the condition? You are telling, check if in case A of I is it equal to A of I minus 1? This is what you are checking, correct? Okay. Now, just brackets I am putting. Syntax is not correct, I know, don't worry about it. Just in the bracket, that is the condition you are checking. If that condition was true, what did you do? You increased the frequency by 1. So, frequency plus plus. You moved I forward, I plus plus. I hope you are able to think. Like that, assume we were here. Okay, we were here. Okay. So, what will happen is, you will check, is A of I, okay, let us keep I here, I am moving it here. Look, you will check if A of I is equal to A of I minus 1. True means you will increment frequency, move I forward. Is A of I equal to A of I minus 1? If it is true, you will increment frequency, move I forward. I value is also changing, I hope you are able to think. Next, you will look at A of I and A of I minus 1. Is it equal? Yes. Yes means I moves forward. Now if I moves forward, should we continue checking A of I is equal to A of I minus 1? Because understand, if you check is A of I equal to A of I minus 1, I has gone outside the boundary of the array. You are trying to access an index which does not exist. I hope you are able to think, because I value has become 6. Do you have an index called as 6? And be it Java or be it Python, if in case you try to access an index which is outside the boundary of the array, if you try to access an index which is outside the boundary of the array, you will get an exception. So, your code will result in an exception. So tell me, when should you check if the ith element is equal to the I minus 1 element? You should check only as long as I was inside the boundary of the array. I hope you're able to check. I hope you're able to think, which means before checking for this condition, don't you think it's very important that first you always check whether I is inside the boundary of the array? How will you do that, sir? Simple. I'll add one more condition. I will check if this condition is also there. Before that, I'll add one more condition. I'll check if I is less than the length of my array. What is the length of my array? 6. If I is less means 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. If it was lesser, then I'm inside the boundary. If I'm inside the boundary, then check if ith element is equal to I minus 1 element. I hope you're able to think. So, check if I is less than length of A. If that is true, then check and is ith element equal to the previous element. Both conditions should be true. Only then increment frequency, increment time. I hope you're able to think. Any confusion till there? Now, this process should keep repeating as long as this condition is true. Whenever you need to loop, as long as a condition is true, which loop will you use? As long as effect is always fulfilled in programming using the while loop. So see, while I is inside the boundary, I is less than length of A, and ith element is equal to the previous element, I minus 1. Increment frequency, increment time. I hope you've been able to understand. Any confusion? Now, look at this. Let us assume I was here. First time you will check, is I inside the boundary? Yes. Is the ith element equal to previous element? Yes. Yes means you will come inside increment frequency. Frequency becomes 2. I plus plus. I moves forward. Any confusion? Again you will check, is I inside the boundary? Yes. Is I equal to previous element? Yes. Increment frequency, move I forward. Again you will check, is I inside the boundary? Yes. Is I equal to previous element? Yes. Yes means increment frequency, I goes outside. When I goes outside, now I value has become 6. If I become 6, is it inside the boundary? No. No means first condition is only false, you will come outside the loop. When you come outside this loop, what happens is, you now have the frequency of the element ready. You now have the frequency of the element. So, the element and its frequency you should print. I hope you are able to think. How will you do that? Simple. So, I will tell print. First I need to print the element. How will you get the element, sir? Simple. Wherever I is, one step behind if you go. That is where you will find the element. I hope you are able to think. So, A of I minus 1. Look at it. Let us assume I was here. I was here. If I was here, if I comes here, you will check if in case A of I is equal to A of I minus 1, condition will be false. Which means you will find the frequency of 20. Now you want to print 20. How will you get 20? I minus 1. How are you able to think? So wherever I is minus 1, when you come out of this loop, wherever I is minus 1 will give you the element. If I was here also, wherever I is minus 1 will give you the element. I hope you are able to think. So print what? A of I minus 1. That will give me the element. Plus one space. Plus whatever is there inside frequency. Here will give me element, space, frequency. Any confusion till this point of time? I hope all of you have been able to understand. Great. Now you printed the element, printed the frequency. Now, don't you think you must reset the value of frequency? Because now you are finding new elements frequency. So, not only should you print, you must reset the value of frequency. Frequency equal to 1. I hope you are able to think. Now think about it. Not only should you reset the value of frequency. If I was here, let's just trace if I was here. What will you do? First you will check, is I inside the boundary? Yes, I is inside the boundary. Is the I equal to the previous element? Yes. Yes means frequency was reset as 1. What you will do is increment frequency. Frequency becomes 2. Great. After that what should happen is, don't you think I should move forward? I should move forward. How to do that? Not only should you reset the frequency, you should also move I forward by telling I plus plus. Any confusion till there? So that is what I am doing. I hope you have been able to understand. Now, this is the core logic of your program. This is the core logic of your program. But would you agree that this core logic should keep repeating itself, keep repeating itself, keep repeating itself. How are you able to think? How to make it repeat, sir, you may ask? Very simple. Put that within a loop. Now this loop should execute, or this code should keep executing as long as I is inside the boundary of the array. The moment I goes outside, you should stop. So what will you do? What you will do is tell while inside the boundary of the array, I is less than length of it. Any confusion till this point of time? Okay, sir, great. We understood till here. Any confusion? So all you have to do is initially set frequency to 1, set I to 1. After that, check if I is inside the boundary. If it is inside the boundary, then try to find that frequency of the element. Once you successfully find the frequency of the element and print it, reset the frequency, move I forward. Now, this process should repeat, and that's why it's within a loop. How are you able to think? So this keeps repeating, repeating, repeating as long as I is inside. The moment I goes outside, this condition will fail. You will come out of the loop and ultimately you would have printed the frequency. Any confusion till here? However, if you think this is complete code and you have taken care of all possibilities, you, my friend, are wrong. Why, you may ask? Now, let us take another example. If you notice, in this example, I made one change, which is 20, 20, 30, 30, 30, last element is 40. So, frequency of 20 is 2, frequency of 30 is 3, frequency of 40 is 1. This is what we should get as our output. Now, let us trace our program and see whether we will get that as the output. So, everybody focus and try to be with me. Let me also just increase the size of this a little bit so that you sort of can understand it. Okay, yeah. Now listen and listen carefully. Let's start tracing the program. First, what will you do? Create a variable frequency, initialize it to 1, because you know first element will occur at least once. Then to see what is the frequency of occurrence, you need I, which will help you. I will always start from the second element. So I starts from 1. Index 1 means second element. So I is here. Okay, good. Now I'll come here inside the loop. Check if I is inside the boundary. Is I less than length of A? Yes, true. I is less than length of A. Enter, enter. And now see, has 20 occurred anywhere in the right side? And that is what this loop will help you. That is what this loop will help you. So first of all, I will check. Is I inside the boundary of the array? Yes, I is inside the boundary of the array. Is the ith element equal to the previous element? Is A of I equal to A of I minus 1? Both conditions are true. If it is true, come inside, increase the value of frequency. Frequency becomes 2. Move I forward, I plus plus. I will move I forward. If I move I forward, now again check. Is I inside the boundary of the array? Yes. Is ith element equal to I minus 1 element? No. No means you found a new element, which means the previous element's frequency you have calculated. How are you able to think? So this condition is false. You will come outside. When you come outside, you have to print the previous element and its frequency. So that is what I am telling. Print A of I minus 1. What is I minus 1? 20. And one space and then frequency. What is the frequency? 2. So 2 gets printed. Any confusion till here? 2 gets printed. Okay, sir, great. What else? What else means now not only should you print, now you are finding new elements frequency. So reset frequency as 1. Frequency got resetted to 1. After which I should move forward. I should move forward. So I plus plus. If I do I plus plus, I moves forward. Any confusion? Now I want you to focus. You are within a loop. That is why this outer loop is there, so that the process repeats. You are within a loop. Check. Is I inside the boundary? Yes, I is inside the boundary. Come inside, calculate the frequency of 30. How to calculate the frequency of 30? Check. Is I inside the boundary? Yes. Is A of I equal to A of I minus 1? Yes. Yes means 30 has occurred again. Again means increments frequency. It becomes 2. Move I forward. I moves forward. Again check. Is I inside the boundary? Yes. Is it equal to the previous element? Yes. Yes means 30 has occurred again. Increment frequency. Frequency becomes 3. Move I forward. I moves forward. How are people to understand? Great sir, next what happens? Again check, is I inside the boundary? Yes. Is the ith element equal to a of I minus 1? No. No means new element has come. If new element has come, why should I increment frequency? I will come outside the while loop. If I come outside this while loop, it means I have found the frequency of 30. That is what it means. So I should print 30 and its frequency. How to get 30? Very simple. A of I minus 1 will give you 30. So print a of I minus 1 space frequency. So 30 has occurred 3 times. Any confusion? Good. Not only should you print, now that you know you've reached a new element, reset frequency. What should you reset it to? New element has occurred once as of now. So frequency becomes 1. I hope you're able to think. Now your duty is to find if 40 has come any more times to its right. So I should move forward I plus plus. You have told. I plus plus means I will go outside. You are within a loop. Outer loop executes. It will check if in case I is inside the boundary. No. Is I inside the boundary? No. No means condition is false. Control will come out of this while loop. If it comes out of this while loop, one mistake has happened, which is technically according to our program, we should have printed 40 and printed its frequency of occurrence, which is 1. But that did not happen because of the way we have written our code. In other words, if the last element was a different element, then that last element has occurred only once, that frequency doesn't get printed. That frequency doesn't get printed because the moment you reached last element, you told I plus plus here. I went outside. Then when you again loop, condition fails, you will come outside. So it is very important that you take such a condition also into consideration. That hey, when I come out of this outer while loop, there is a chance that there could have been a last element which was different and its frequency did not get printed. Now, don't you think you must write a condition here which will check whether the last element was unique and print its frequency? If the last element was unique, was a different element, then what will its frequency be? 1. So the element and 1 you should be printing. 40 and 1 you should be printing. How will you write condition for that, sir? You may ask. Very simple. See guys, if really this last element was unique and I came out of this loop, then look at this. I is outside. I minus 1 is 40. Now if 40 was really unique, I minus 1 is 40, I minus 2 is 30. Should 40 and 30 be the same or different? My question is simple. If really 40 was unique, I is outside, I minus 1 will give me 40, I minus 2 will give me 30. Is 40 and 30 going to be the same? No. In other words, all you have to come outside and do is check if the last element and the second last element are different. If they are different, it means the last element is unique. If it is unique, print the last element and its frequency as 1. I hope you are able to understand. How will you write it as conditions are simple. If in case A of I is here, I minus 1 is not equal to what? I minus 2. If this condition is true, then my I minus 1 element, that is my last element, is unique. If it is unique, print it and its frequency as 1. And that is what I am telling. Print what? A of I minus 1 will give me last element plus 1 space plus 1. Just print the frequency as 1. No need to print what is there inside. You can print this also. Anyways, it will be resetted to 1. But directly also you can print 1 or you can print frequency as well. I hope you are able to think. If I do that, it will come outside and it will print 40 space 1. Any confusion till this point of time? So this is how you must consider all types of inputs. That is why test cases don't pass. I hope you are able to understand. Even now, if you think your code is perfect and you have considered all possibilities, you, my friend, are still wrong. Sir, what else have I not considered? You may wonder. Pause the video and think if there is any other possibility you have not considered. Assuming you have thought, let me tell you. Assume this was the input given to our program. Size is 1, only one element is there. Output should be 10 space 1, correct? Now let us look whether our code will work. See guys, this is I. Okay, I'm sorry, this is not I. Let's see whether code works. Now watch it. Initially frequency will create. Make frequency as 1. I always we have been initializing it from 1. So I is 1. 1 means I is already outside. I is already outside. Now I will come to the loop and I will check. First time itself, is I inside the boundary? No. No means false. I will come outside. Next I will check, hey, is I minus 1 not equal to I minus 2? Do you have anything I minus 2? No. Which means this condition will also fail. You will come out. But what should you have technically done? You should have technically printed A of I minus 1, which is 10, and frequency as 1. But you did not take care of that. I hope you are able to think. So what to do? What to do means, in the same condition, I will apply one more condition in the beginning and I will check if in case the length of A, that is the size of this, is equal to 1. If it is equal to 1, then what should I do? This condition I will put and I will tell or the other condition. Both I am combining as 1. Because if both these, if either this condition is true or this condition is true, output is the same, which is what? I minus 1 element. Print the frequency. Frequency is 1 only. So I minus 1 plus space plus frequency. If I do that, I minus 1 is 10 plus 1 space and frequency is anyways whatever is there inside this variable 1. Now we are able to think. So if length is 1 also, print I minus 1 plus the frequency. Or if in case this unique element occurs also, this condition works. I hope you are able to think. And of course, for the first condition also, I hope everybody understood. So slowly I have evolved the code. So finally, this is how your code is supposed to look like. Any confusion till this point of time? I hope everybody understood. Okay. So obviously, this is a big O of n solution. Why n? Because whatever is the size of the array, that many times I has to go till the end. So if n elements are there, n iterations will happen. I hope you are able to think. So obviously it is a big O of n solution. This is how you can find the frequency of a sorted array. I repeat, of a sorted array. Any confusion till here? Great, my friends. Now all that is remaining is for us to write code. Alright, let's write some code. So as you can see, this is the array that I have with me and the same array is what I have created here. Now I will just be creating a static function which doesn't return anything. So void, and I'll call it as frequency itself, right? You can call it whatever you want. I'll just call it as frequency. Now this frequency is going to accept this integer array. Yes, inside that I will go, and what I am going to now essentially do is write the core logic of what we are doing. So first of all, in our core logic, what we did is we initialized a variable called as frequency and initially made it as 1. So int frequency equal to 1. FREQ is enough. Equal to 1. Yeah. In the next line, I am going to create another variable, make that assignment proper. Next, what I am going to do is I will tell int I. So I should obviously begin from the second element. So I is equal to 1. Okay. Yeah. Now next, inside that there is the outer for loop. So which is while I is less than a dot length. While I is less than a dot length. Okay. Next, inside that I will come, and what I will do is, now first and foremost we have to write another while loop where I is, so I want to find how many 20s are there. So I starts from first element and I have to keep going front and saying how many i's are there. For that I will put another while loop, and there I will tell first I should see if I has not gone outside the boundary. So I is less than a dot length again. and after which and I will tell. I will also write the next condition, which is a of I should be equal to a of I minus 1. Then only it's repeating, it means a of I minus 1. Then I'll come inside that. If both conditions are true, I will increment frequency by telling frequency plus plus, and I will also increment I by telling I plus plus. Okay, now once I come out of this while loop, what it means is that I have found the frequency of that element. So what I will do is, first and foremost, I should print the element and its frequency. So I'll tell system.out.println, and inside that I will tell, how do you get the element? A of I minus 1. I have already explained that to you. A of I minus 1. Okay, plus one space, plus I will now tell the frequency. So whatever is there inside frequency, I am going to add. Yeah. In the next line, now you printed the element. Now next element, right? So reset frequency to 1. And then move I forward, I plus plus. I hope you are able to think. Great. Now this will take care for this input. So I should get 20 to 34 as the output. Anyways, I will come down to the main method and I will just call this frequency method and I will pass my integer array A to it. Yeah. Now if in case I execute it, then you can notice this is the output that we will get, 20 to 34. So perfectly it works. However, if I make one change, which is instead of 30, if I were to put 40, here, then this code will not work. Come down, make the same change in the array. I'll make it as 40. Any confusion? Now it will not work because you know that here 41 will not get printed. See, if I execute, you can notice you have got 20 to 33, but you didn't get 41. You didn't get it. I hope you're able to think. Okay, sir, what to do, sir? You may ask what to do. Means I'll close this. Now, what I'm going to now do is I'll come out of this while loop. And I'll put a condition if in case. Okay. Let us assume I was here, right? If I minus 1 is not equal to I minus 2, then I know that this element was a unique element and I have to print its frequency as 1. So A of I minus 1 not equal to A of I minus 2. In that case, I will come inside and what I am now going to do is tell system dot, just copy this line, paste it again. Okay, because anyways we would have resetted the frequency to 1. I hope you are able to think. Now will it work? 100%. If I execute, you can notice you would have got 40 and 1. Any confusion? So definitely it works. Close it. However, if in case I have a single element, so remove all this, keep only 120. If I had only a single element, I'll save it. If in case I execute, then let's see what the output comes as. Exception. What is the exception? Index has become minus 1. Go this side. Out of bounds exception. Basically, you got. Why is that? Go back. Close it. That is because you know, if in case where I started from 1, in case there was only a single element like this, let us assume I had only a single element like this. So 20 like this I have, isn't it? Now if I have a single element, then this is 0. My I starts from 1, so it is outside the boundary. Then what you did is, obviously here condition failed, I is not inside the boundary. You will come here, A of I minus 1 is how much? 0. Good. Not equal to A of I minus 2 is what? Minus 1. So 1 minus 2 is minus 1. Is there an index called as minus 1? It's outside the boundary. That is why in this line you will get exception. So what I will do is, I will go at the start here and there leave some space. Now, 1 sum, 2, 3 lines, 2, 3 times you press. Yeah, I will come to the start and there I am now going to write one more condition where I will check. If in, just not no if and all, I will just tell A dot length means what? Size of the array. If the size of the array is equal to 1, double equal to 1, I will check. If this is the case, then I know there is only a single element. If there is a single element, just print that element. See, I minus 1 will be 0. So, 0th element I will print, frequency will anyways be 1. I will put OR between them, because this also might be the case, this also might be the case, irrespective, OR I will put. Any confusion till here? Great, sir, we understood. Now will it work? Yes, execute. If I execute it, clearly you can see 21 you have got. So, you have considered all the cases, right? So, I hope you sincerely enjoyed learning how to find the frequency of elements in a sorted array, right? So, I hope your knowledge is increasing day by day, but most important is that after this, you go and try to solve this program on your own. Recollect it from what you have learned and try to type and practice. You will get errors, fix it, keep, iterating, keep doing, you will get the right answer. And whenever you get stuck, you come back, listen to the class, all your doubts will be clarified. Okay. Anyways, thank you so much for listening. I'll catch you in the next class.